Welcome to Small Arm Solutions. Today we're going to be looking at two of the latest versions of Glock pistols that have been released, the Model 43X and the Model 48. Now, just to give a little bit of a background on where we're at today with Glock. With the release of the Gen 5 Glocks, basically all we've seen coming out of Glock is the 9mm variations. And the reason being is Glock is saying that because of the pendulum swinging back to the 9mm caliber in law enforcement due to the new advancements in ammunition, that's what their customers want right now, and their primary concern right now is the law enforcement and military markets, which is the 9mm. So since the release of the Gen 5 Glock, well over a year ago, we've seen several new pistols that have been entered into the Glock lineup, where they've gone from the Gen 5 into the Gen 5 Model 17, 19, and of course we have the MOS versions. And with the later versions, we're looking at the 43X and the 48. And we've more recently heard about some of the new Model 45 MOS coming out. So we're interested to see what they're going to be coming out with next. I've had a lot of viewers who've expressed interest in wondering when is Glock going to start coming out with Gen 5 and other calibers. And the question is I don't know. I don't know how much more they can do with 9mm at the moment. For the most part, what they're coming out with is slight variations of guns they already have, making them slimmer grips and so forth. So personally, I hope to see some Gen 5 45s coming out in the not too distant future. But basically, everything that we have right now is coming off of the Gen 5 Model 17, 19 series. Basically, you have all the the improvements in the barrel that we've talked about in other videos. So I think we're going to jump right in. We're going to start talking about the Model 43X. Now, the Model 43 has been quite popular because it was the first really slimline 9mm pistol. This particular pistol, I want to thank Brandon over at the gun room in Shenandoah. This particular pistol is his backup pistol he carries as a deputy sheriff. So he carries this on his ankle. So he was kind enough to loan this to us so we could take a look at it. And what we have is a very slimline pistol. We have a 6-round magazine. As compared to the same size pistol in Model 42, just slightly smaller than .380 auto caliber. This is just slightly larger. It's not much of a difference. But you got 6 rounds of 9mm ammunition, and it's slim and it's flat. You have a magazine capacity again of 6 rounds. You have a 3.41 inch barrel with an overall length of 6.26 inches, an overall width of 1.06 inches, and the height width of the magazine is 4.25 inches. This is slightly larger because Brandon has the extended grip on here, just because it's he's got, just like me, he's got big hands. It's much easier to grasp a hold of it. You have a weight unloaded of 17.99 ounces, loaded 20.64 ounces. So this has really been a stalemate for as far as compact carry for those who don't want to carry something smaller than a 9mm. Well, Glock has now introduced the model G43X. And the major difference between the two is the magazine. You're looking at a 10-shot magazine versus a 6-shot magazine. So you obviously have a longer grip with the same width. Now, they also have a two-tone. Now, the two-tone, I don't know how I really feel about the two-tone. I tend to like the all-black myself, and right now they're only being released in the two-tone with the grayish type slide. This does have the treatment on it, so it's not going to corrode on you, just like any of the other pistols does. It just has more of the raw type finish. Now, how this differs from the Model 43. Now, both the barrels are both 3.41 inches. But if you look at the overall length, you're looking at slightly larger. You go from 6.26 inches to 6.50 inches. Overall width, you're looking at 1.06 inches on the 43 to 1.10 on the 43X. And for as far as the height with the magazines, where you see a really big difference at 4.25 inches to the 5.04 inches on the Model 43X. And loadage, you're looking at the difference between 6 rounds of 20.64 ounces versus 10 rounds, 23.07 ounces. Now, the 43X, for those of us who have larger hands, it certainly is better. I definitely believe, for as far as the comparison between the two of them, the shorter hand grip is going to be much better for a backup gun that you're trying to conceal a little bit better. I will say where I think the 43X really comes into play is in the states where they're occupied, like New York, where they have magazine capacity restrictions. Because if you were to compare the Model 43X to the Model 26, both of them which have 10 rounds, to me, this larger grip is much more comfortable than the shorter and fatter grip of the Model G26. So if I had the choice between the two and I was in a state where I only could carry 10 rounds, I probably would much more prefer the Model 43X over the G26 just because of that larger grip. For the larger grip, you are carrying the same amount of ammunition that's thinner and it's far more comfortable. And these pistols are offered with a difference in sights as well. Particularly, I've been enjoying the Marigold sights. I do like the Marigold sights more than anything that they have out right now, but you can get the the steel sights. You can get this one has the standard Glock polymer sights on them. You can get the standard Glock night sights as well. Now, for as far as fit and function, this is what you would expect from Glock. There's nothing different. You do have the orange magazine follower, which I'm particularly fond of. I do like that. And all those standard features you have, your loaded chamber indicator you have on the side here. You do have a slight more of a taper on the barrel hood here. So overall, it's a very, very nice handgun. Again, I think it's more geared towards those in the occupied states where you can't have the higher capacity magazines. It is good as a concealed carry gun. It is narrower than the Model 26. For as far as the size is concerned, it is ideal for that. But looking at the two of them together, my take on it is the standard G43 would be a far better concealed carry gun than it would be this one, especially when you're talking about ankle holster, which this one's normally carried in. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this out to the range. We're going to see how it shoots. As you typically would expect from Glock, it shot quite well. The ammunition that I used was the Black Hills ammunition, 9x19 millimeter. We'll talk a little bit about the ammunition as well. Black Hills is not cheap ammunition, and there's a reason for that. Jeff Hoffman, which I know personally, I've been out to his facility, he would rather make high-quality ammunition and not bother competing with the lower end. He's not trying to compete with cheap ammunition. He wants to make the best ammunition possible, and pretty much when you use Black Hills ammunition, you're taking away every variable that has to do with ammunition on a firearm, because his ammunition is, in my opinion, it's the factory or industry standard. The ammunition that we used here was 115 grain full metal jacket, which I've used this ammunition for several years. Reliability is just exactly where you want it to be. Now, taking the G43X with the 3.41 inch barrel, we had an average velocity of 1,070 feet a second with this. There was some other ammunition that we had tested in the past. For instance, we also had some of the Gecko ammunition out there at this day, and we had the same 115 grain full metal jacket at 1,023 feet per second. We're going to take a look at another Glock offering, which is the Model 48. Now, the Model 48 is very much like the G43X that you have here, but you can see we have a much longer barrel. This is more of their compact line versus the G43X is their subcompact line. So we're looking at this more in comparison with the G17. And for as far as length is concerned, now width is very, very different. We're going to go over some of these differences as well. But basically what we have here is a 10-shot Model 19. So we have a slimmer grip, which is a lot more comfortable. This, again, I view this as something that's going to be more useful in the band states than anything else. You have a large enough pistol where you can get a good perch on it. It's a good grip. It's basically a compact-sized pistol with 10 shots, so you have a narrower grip. So why would I want to carry a Model 17 with a 10-shot magazine that's as large as a Model 17 is when I can carry something that's more appropriate for its size, and it also will comply with any of the local laws for as far as having a 10-shot limitation on a magazine. Now, the magazines for the G43X and the G48 are compatible. They're the same magazines. This is a new magazine. There are no other guns that are compatible with this in the Glock lineup for as far as the 10-shot magazine that you see here. Now, we start looking at some of the stats between these guns. You compare the G17, which is the full-size gun, the G43X, which is the subcompact, and the G48, which is the compact. You're looking at a magazine capacity of the G17, 17 plus 1. The G43, you're looking at 10 plus 1, and the G48, you're looking at 10 plus 1. When you get into barrel lengths, this is where you start seeing some major differences. You see a G17 full-size with a 4.49-inch barrel. You see the G48 with a 4.17-inch barrel, and the G43X with a 3.41-inch barrel. You have a slightly longer barrel on the G48. Now, for as far as overall length, you're looking at a Glock 17 at 7.95 inches. You're looking at a 43X at 6.50 inches, and you're looking at the compact G48 at 7.28 inches. Now, for overall width, you're looking at very similar. You're looking at 1.34 inches on the G17. You're looking at 1.10 inches on the G43X and 1.10 on the G48. So the G48 and the G43X are the exact same width. Height, you're looking at 5.47 inches with the Glock 17. You're looking at the G43X at 5.04. You're looking at 5.04 on the G48 as well. So your pistol grip and everything is the same versus the G43X as well as the G48. So the main difference is just the barrel length and the length of the slide. So for the overall weight of a loaded pistol, you're looking at the overall weight of a G17 Gen 5 at 32.14 ounces, 43X 23.07 ounces, and the G48 25.12 ounces. Now, both the G48 and the G43X all have the Gen 5 features that you would have: the same marksmanship barrel, same finishes, the same modifications to the inside, the firing pin block safety, and so forth. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to take the Model 48 out to the range and see how that one shoots. Now, as you would expect, ran flawlessly with the Black Hills ammunition, reliable as can be. This one certainly felt better to me than the G43X did, again, because I have larger hands. I carry a Model 45. That's been my carry gun since it came out. It replaced my Glock 19, and I can't see anything replacing my G45 other than maybe a G45 MOS in the future. But when it came to these slimline guns, the G48 felt very, very good to me. If I was in a state where I couldn't have a Model 17 with a 17-shot magazine, I probably would be carrying a Model 48. I think the 48 is ideal for that situation. It's definitely not worth the extra width and weight of the Model 17 for measly 10 rounds. If you're going to be a 10 rounds, I'd rather have the lighter and more slender gun. Now, as we stated, Glock has continued to move forward with their Gen 5 series in 9mm. Glock has not given any indication of what they're going to be releasing next or when they're going to be starting to release more of the different calibers. I've been asked this question many times. When is Glock going to start coming out with different calibers again? My hope is to start seeing some 45s coming out. That's what I would think would be the next ones, the 40s. But, Glock is very much driven by military and law enforcement contracts. And with the pendulums, it'll be talked about swinging back to 9mm. A lot of police departments that were carrying various types of 40s and 45s are now switching back to 9mm, including major federal agencies such as the FBI, such as the Homeland Security, such as, several are going back to the 9mm variations of the Gen 5 Model 17, 19. And along with that, you're probably going to be seeing them carrying backup guns in the 43X and in the 48. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, please subscribe, and even better, share. Thank you.